Hello, folks. Welcome to this special episode of Motor India's Trans Report. As we enter into the 56th day of nationwide lockdown to fight the spread of coronavirus, the whole economy is in pretty bad shape. Our lives stand totally altered. So is the life of millions of truckers who are facing an unprecedented crisis. Today with us is Mr. Mahinder Arya, who is the president of All India Transport Welfare Association, an association which represents over 65% of organized road transport businesses in India. Let's try to understand the crisis from ITWA's perspective and the initiatives or the efforts that the association has taken to make sure that there is an ease in the movement of transportation across the country during this lockdown. Thank you, sir, for giving us your valuable time for Motor India.
My pleasure. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So I just would like to start with a comment that now, just as every medical worker and healthcare workers who are risking their lives out to make sure that the society survives, we also have truck drivers who are risking their personal health and lives to make sure that goods are delivered to essential places and to make sure that this whole system is running. Is this service of transport workers and truck drivers recognized at this point of time? What is your first impression on that?
I think your question itself has got an answer also,
Right.
because the truck drivers and the people who are working in the supply chain are not being treated in the same fashion as the medical worker, health workers, the safai karamchari. All these people are being addressed.
Right.
So this has been a demand from ATWA right from the beginning, that in spite of all the directives by the government to stay home, there was a requirement that the supply chain should move. So
Right.
that was an initiative from the government side, that the supply chain has to move to keep the food, the medicines, and even the essentials required for the hygiene for this COVID fighting. Everything was required from the transporters only. So we had been requesting that the people who are running the supply chain, they should be considered as corona warriors as others are, and accordingly there should be some incentive, some you know insurance coverage just like the other people. But somehow the government has not thought in the same lines. So of course there is a difference which is going on.
Okay, but how does the society perceive the efforts or the hard work taken by truckers at this time of crisis? Do you see a change in
So,
mindset towards truckers and drivers in terms of the social attitude and mindset that exists?
see, the society sees everything through the television. Whatever the television shows them, for them that is the reality.
Right.
So day in and day out, they are looking at the corona figures, how many patients, how many died, whatever has happened, and then in between there are doses from the government. So whatever government is telling is the true gospel truth, and
Right.
people don't get to look into the basic realities, how things are moving. Uh, Actually, I will be very open, very clear about this, that the transport industry as a whole has been quite, disheartened by the government's such attitude towards the transport industry.
Okay.
On one hand, the Prime Minister has been claiming that there has been, lot of jobs created by the transporters, I think few months ago. Now nobody is talking about the transporters as if they don't exist. So I think this is disheartening. If nothing else, at least some words of encouragement could have helped.
Right. Okay. So definitely, I'll come back to government's response in a while. But before that, I would like to ask your assessment of the impact of this coronavirus crisis on the road transportation industry. More say in terms of the loss of livelihood of millions of people who are working as drivers or working as truck spotters and many other essential ecosystem. Say, for instance, even highway dabas that also gives livelihood to a lot of people. So this kind of a fractured ecosystem at present, what is your assessment on that? And how do you see this coming up in the, say, for instance, by the end of this month, probably that will be the, we do hope that that will be the end of the lockdown 4.0 as well. So once the lockdown is over and more restrictions are being relaxed, what is the way out for this transport industry to come up as well? So first of all, your assessment of the impact and what is the immediate outlook for this industry?
See, Ganesh, you have to look at the entire scene. See, up to 24th of March, nobody was told that there's going to be any kind of lockdown or stoppage. So the trucks were being loaded like as usual, and they were running on the roads as usual. So at any given point of time, at least 40, 50 lakhs trucks, they are on the move, either intercity, interstate, or all over the country. And all of a sudden, on 24th of March, it was announced that from the midnight, there's a lockdown. Now that lockdown was also not very clear whether it means the stopping of the highways or not. So on the next day, gradually the thing started unfolding. The states interpreted the lockdown in such a way that no trucks should enter my state. So they blocked the entry of the states. This happened almost in all the states, and the poor truck drivers, they got stuck in this. They remained where they were. Gradually, the dhabas started closing, so there was no food available. There was no water available. There was no medical facilities or anything available there. No medical facilities available there. There was nobody to help them. Actually, it was reverse of that. No, there were policemen who were harassing for whatever reasons. These poor helpless drivers, they were trying to get some help. How to move from here? If nobody is coming to our rescue, we have to move out. So their moving out was also not easy. No public transportation. So just imagine this situation went on for the nearly 10 days. During this 10 days, the transport association like ATWA, they came to their rescue. We started the food service all over India on all the highways through our members in different locations. We have our associations present in different cities. For example, in Kolkata, the Calcutta Goods Transport Association, Hyderabad Goods Transport Association, Delhi Goods Transport Association. So all of us joined hands together. The funds were collected by ATWA, and the ground service was being handled by these people in different places. And they also arranged their own funds also. ATWA also arranged the camps for food distribution also. So this was going on right through the country. I will say I think we have recently closed that service because now we have realized that not much of food is required. But by the time this food chapter was going on for the first 10 to 15 days, we realized that trucks also require some kind of sanitization, because trucks were stranded at places. Drivers left their trucks and went away. And after that, whoever was entering or not entering or touching the trucks, uh, lots of trucks were parked near the port also. So we undertook the sanitization part. We hired the agencies who went there, dressed in their this uh, fighting mode with the equipments, and the sanitization started. Many corporates joined hands with us in this, and so far we have already sanitized, I think, more than 5,000-6,000 vehicles on the road, and it is still going on. So that was our part of it.
Right.
But situation was bad, and when people realized, the drivers realized that no help is going to come, so they abandoned the vehicles where it was. Some drivers could drove the vehicle to their villages which were nearby, so they drove the vehicle to their villages along with the goods. And many drivers left the vehicle just like that without knowing how will they reach home. So I think they have faced the worst nightmare among all of us. Now, it can be compared to the migrant labor which is happening in recent times. The same situation was prevailing on the highways during those days. So Now, that kept the whole thing at a standstill. I will say nearly 100% movement was closed in those initial days. And after that, the government realized that if we don't run the things, then where will the food come from? Where will the medicines come from? And then there were notifications after notification which started asking people to move the supply chain. Now, just imagine, on one hand, the government is telling people, stay at home, don't come out, don't step out. On the other hand, they want the trucks to move. How will it happen? How do you expect the drivers to take the risk and come out?
Right.
Unless there is a reason for him to again take the risk and come to the same tough life on the highway. So nothing was happening. As an association, we were running after the government. You must do something for them if you want the supply chain to move. Unfortunately, there was nothing which was done for the drivers.
Okay.
So whatever number of drivers were available, I think gradually they came to the steering wheel, and the movement started 5%, 10%, 15%. At JNPT, it was completely blocked. The port area was completely blocked. There was no movement in the port, also in the CFS also, and we as a association were getting direct feelers from the logistics secretary that we need vehicles there. So we did our best to motivate drivers to organize the such facilities, whatever is required. So we brought the movement at port to some level.
Okay.
Highways gradually opened, and I think at the best we might have reached to a movement level of say 20, 25%, maybe 20% only. But then this train thing has started,
Right.
and this has again taken it back to the original level. Lot of drivers who were operative because they had no choice, they could not go home and they had to be in the city, so it was better for them to keep the vehicle running. But when they realized that the trains are open, I can also go to my home, and the big number of drivers have again gone back, and situation at JNPT has again come back to the same original problem. There are huge requirements of the vehicles. There are hardly any vehicles available, and I don't know how will it be solved, because there's no real efforts about solving this issue.
Well,
And
starting from lockdown number one and lockdown 2.0 and now lockdown 4. So what is the rate or the percentage of fleet or vehicle park that is currently in operational right now across 4 phases of lockdown?
generally, I will say at the best, maybe 30% movement is taking place. Why 30%? Because there's a major number of these vehicles are in the city. These
Right.
are the city vehicles which are operative.
Hmm.
They were always parked in the city, so the movement was not that big a issue for them.
Hmm.
And looking at the requirement of the day-to-day items as essential items, they are operative. So that has pushed the number to 30%. But otherwise, if I consider long distance movement, I don't think that is even 15%.
Okay. So right now, today, as we stand, there have been news reports that many states have eased interstate truck transportation, and many states are opening truckers and highways so that there is a seamless movement of goods. But do you see any impact
No,
on
no,
that?
that thing had started earlier also,
Okay.
because once all the state governments realized
Hmm.
that stopping the highway does not help at all, because there is
Okay.
no corona spread on the highways.
Hmm.
Highway was having only the trucks, and every truck driver is in a quarantine only when he is inside his truck. So he's not a cause of any virus.
Hmm.
So gradually this was realized. Dhabas were asked to open, so they also, I think many of them started opening, and other facilities like the repair shop and puncture shop, those also came into operation. So the facility wise things were solved, but main issue is the driver. There has to be a reason and a mechanism for a driver to come out. Suppose he is gone to his village and he wants to come out, his family will not let him come out, his villagers will not let him come out, because they feel that if he goes out and he comes back infected, he will create a problem. So a lot of panchayat, they are having their own restrictions. So the government is clueless how to bring them back, and there's no coordination with the association as such. We have given all our inputs which is possible.
And at one hand, as we see that there is this issue of shortage of drivers, as you were saying. On the other hand, even if a lot of business activities and production has resumed, do you see proper demand for logistics or transportation services seen in the economy at present? Despite all major industries, say for instance, even in automotive industry, many OEMs and component makers have resumed their operations. But despite that, the market is not fully open or operational. So do you see a proper demand that was existing just like earlier for the transportation services?
Uh, See, this opening is an attempt to open. It's nothing is opening. Everybody is attempting to open
Okay.
because government has allowed. So everybody thinks, ki, why don't I open my shop? Why don't I open my warehouse? Why don't I open my factory? But opening is not so easy. The manpower is required. Now with this kind of exodus of migrant labor, where will the factories find the labor to operate? Just by opening the door, you don't open the production.
Right.
So that production level is going to take a lot of time.
Okay.
Of course, there have been certain things which are covered in the essential goods. They were allowed right from the beginning, so they were on their toes. And many people, they tweaked the production also. Some people like who are making textile stuff, they moved to the mask making. So that way something started. So differently in a way. And there's no point manufacturing televisions or refrigerators as on today. Where will it go? Who will sell? Who will buy? So there's no reason for these things to start producing.
Right.
So production level is very poor. I will not say, but for a change, I can say that the demand is little more than the supply, because supply is the badly hit at present of the vehicles. Always it is the reverse situation. The supply is plenty. In fact, the excess capacity is available in transportation, and that is why the transporters are always and profitless. So for a change, that situation is little bit better, but it doesn't mean that the people are earning. It is only on the one way they are getting business. The reverse side again is coming without loads. So whatever extra market has gone up, that is being squared up by the reverse movement. So
Right.
there is hardly any special benefit to the transporters.
Right.
But definitely demand has an edge over the supply right now. Demand is more.
Okay. Previously, I mean, some 6 months ago, the industry was in such scenario that the freight rates were actually dropping so badly, and it was impacting the whole industry in a big way. So, at present, do you think if this kind of a situation continues for another 2-3 months, do you see a further drop in freight rates, which will greatly impact the transportation sector?
See, once the drivers come back to the trucks, the situation will be same or worst, because the supply of the vehicle will remain the same what it was before everything happened, but the production level will be down by at least 30-40% all over the country. So that means the production which will be available will be much less than the capacity which is available. So I am not anticipating a good time for the transporters in the near future. It's going to be further bad.
Right. And just a couple of days ago, the central government came up with a financial stimulus package for the whole economy and for specific sectors as well. What does that package means to the transportation fraternity? Where does the trucking community fit in that plan of the central government?
Uh, the package is very cryptic. I think the entire nation is trying to decipher what has been given to whom. But let me keep myself to the transport sector. As far as transport sector is concerned, we are nowhere in the total stimulus. There's no benefit or no help in the restructuring the transportation economy. We don't find anything out there.
Okay. And with ITWA's proper communication with the transport ministry, and you've been trying to reach out to them as well. Were there any improvements in that regard, or at least are there any assurance from the ministry so that certain priorities will be kept in mind in the later or in the coming days, so that some reforms or some packages can be unveiled? Do you see any positive outlook in that regard?
No, there's no such commitment. There's no such response. In fact, there's no response. The situation is continuing for a long time of no response. We don't get replies. We don't get answers. Uh, we have been submitting different ideas, proposals, lot of things to tackle the difficulties of the situation, but none of those ideas have been appreciated. And as far as any kind of help is concerned, I don't think that is on the cards of the government. For that matter, I don't think anybody is getting any help.
And or what is the way out, or what are all the major suggestions, or some kind of an immediate relief that you would expect government to offer the transport sector? Say, for instance, one specific aspect that is in my mind is easing of the highway tolls, for instance. So, at this, since the whole nation is facing an unprecedented crisis, at least the tolls can be kind of given a relaxation, so that there is a better incentive for a transporter to an extent, at least. Or in terms of fuel costs, now the excise rates and everything has been increased. So anything, something related to that, like what any immediate measures that government can take so that it can make at least some notable difference in the outlook that transporters are looking at?
So government is not ready to sacrifice a single penny of their revenue. Toll, which was temporarily stopped, that was stopped not because there was any plan to help the transporters, because there was no movement on the highways, and the toll keepers had to bear the cost of the keeping their staff there, which was difficult. So just to safeguard their own interest, they stopped the toll, and that opened on 20th of April. They started the toll collection when there was a little bit of movement which started, and they revised the toll upwards. The toll rates increased from 20th of April. They have an annual revision process as with the financial year. So the financial year started on the 1st of April. So the new start was again with the increased rates, let alone the letting go. And all the rules are applicable now, that fast tag, untagged vehicle enters a tagged lane, there will be double the charges. There is no consideration at any point for anybody. As far as the diesel part is concerned, I think diesel is such a item for the state governments as also the central government, which is their cash cow. When they are shortage of funds, they increase the excise duties or whatever on the diesel, because that has to sell. That has to sell because the supply chain is to move. Finally, that cost gets loaded on the total costing, and it reaches to the masses only. Nobody is getting any benefit out of that, but the government is getting their revenue. So we don't expect government to uh, give any kind of concession in these two things. See, as an association, we had submitted to the government some proposals, because we realize the government is cash tight, and they cannot let money go. So there has to be certain mechanism by which they don't suffer anything and still they can help out. So our representation included that as a transporter, our main three expenses are salaries, uh, interest, and rent. We have warehouses, we have godowns, offices at all over the country. So we are paying rent heavily. Salaries, because there's a human-based business. A lot of people are employed, and the government wanted that everybody should be paid also. And third factor is the interest. People have taken loans on the truck purchase or in the form of working capital. Nothing is happening, no business is happening. The interest rate is working 24 hours without any stoppage for a second. So we had requested the government, okay, if this whole thing is of say 3 months, so you work out how much is our cost for 3 months on these three subjects. And that is possible to work out because we have filed our balance sheets of the previous year. Just check the balance sheet of the last year on these three subjects, you find out give us the proportionate amount for three months. Don't pay out that as a cash because you don't have cash. So you can give us a credit in the form of advance income tax. You credit my account with that much of money that can be adjusted over 2 years. So that way you are not burdened with immediate cash payout. We are satisfied that okay, in the next 2 years we will get some kind of adjustment done, so that loss will be minimized to certain level. But the idea was appreciated at the ground level when it was submitted, but nothing happened. I don't think the government has any intention of helping out in this fashion to any industry.
Okay. And we also see that there is an ease in movement of the truck freight transportation. Sorry, the train-based or the rail-based freight transportation. And will that worsen the situation for the road transportation in any regard? Because if there is, say, for instance, for up to June 30th, there will be no passenger train movement except for the special trains. So, which means there is a scope for the railways to increase their freight trains, right? So, will that impact the road transportation in any way?
See, in the present time, it's good that railway is doing some part of it because road transportation is almost closed.
Hmm.
So when there is no road transportation, something has to be moved.
Right.
So that way, railway has come into picture. It's a good sign.
Hmm.
And as far as the consideration of both services are concerned for long term, I think railways have always been present there, even before this road network. And in spite of all that, the road transportation always had the upper hand, maybe 65% share of the total movement.
Hmm.
So that situation is always going to happen
Hmm.
for a simple reason.
Hmm.
The railway has its limitation on the rails.
Hmm.
So the two end have to be met by the road transport always.
Hmm.
So they are on the crutches of the road transportation at all times. So that requirement will be always there, even if something is being moved by a train. So if a truck would have taken that much material, instead of that, two trucks will take on this side, on that side also. So it's not going to be fully replenished by the railway ever, and both will coexist as it has been doing. And I don't think they are threat to each other.
Okay, right. And one last question is that one major criticism that the road transportation or the trucking industry faces often is the lack of unity among different associations across different regions of India. Now, do you think that this coronavirus induced uh, crisis and the lockdown has impacted the industry so much that do you think there will be a greater unity among different associations of truckers so that there is a unified voice or a unified way to reach out to government and then things can get better or something?
See, it is not never possible. You know, what is unified voice? This is not a political party which is working on a fixed agenda. It is what is association? Association is getting together of the people for a common purpose. So that can happen over a geographical area, maybe over a particular community. These are the things which bring people together. So that is why in every city there is a transport association. And at the apex level, we have two main associations, like All India Motor Transport Congress is one, and All India Transport Welfare Association is also another. And I don't think there's any kind of conflict or any difference of the opinions. Only thing is the both have different kind of membership. Hence, their working methods are different. You know, ATWA, All India Transport Welfare Association, is more connected with the transport companies. The transport companies which deal with the corporates or with the organized sector or with the government. Whereas All India Motor Transport Congress is more connected with the truck owners and a lot of fleet owners. So ultimately both are same. Business is same. The trucks are used by the transport companies only. So that interdependence is always going to be there. And this unity thing, I think it is. I don't think it's any great issue. We have the same demand. There's no difference in the demand at the end of it.
Right.
There may be different methods of presentation.
Okay. And just a lead from that as well. like there is always this criticism on the trucking sector that a majority of the stakeholders are not organized. Although, like, what constitute that organized is a question. But government always thinks that the operation should be more organized, and the government, especially the ministry, wants all the transporters to become totally organized rather than being unorganized. So, do you think that that kind of a debate or that kind of a black and white organized versus unorganized thing does exist, and does that worsen the scenario at present?
Yeah. I think this is definitely a situation of India that the industry is disorganized. If you compare it with any developed country, America or maybe Europe somewhere, then you will find there are only large transport companies which are operating. A transport company may be having 50,000 vehicles, maybe 1 lakh vehicles. So this kind of maybe 4 5 big companies, they are controlling the movement. Like in America, recently their president Donald Trump, he had some function at the White House, and he invited how many? Maybe DHL and another 2 3 companies to honor the entire logistics industry. But that is not possible in India. Here, every single truck owner is a transporter. Here, every company without a truck is also a transporter. So the fragmentation is too much, and that is logical also. This is one industry which gives employment to people who don't have any educational background or no, not even a great skill also. So this has been absorbing people. If you go on calculating, so I think behind every truck there will be 20 people employed in different fashion. So if there are say about 1 crore trucks, then 20 crore people directly indirectly are dependent on this business. So that is the reason this is fragmented, and this is not a minus point, because for a country like India, we don't want giants capturing the entire transport business. We want people to do business, and there are certain companies which came tried in between to behave like American market. I will not name them, but they are aggregator kind of people who are getting funds from abroad, and they have deep pockets to burn. So they don't care. The competition was very unhealthy. They thought that by reducing the prices below the cost, they can displace all the existing transporters and take come into their shoes. That can never happen for long term. For a short term, anybody can try that in any business. You start selling at the below the cost, you have a long queue of the buyers, but it doesn't survive for long.
Right. But at a time when the whole industry is facing too much of a crisis, do you think that the so-called unorganized segments of the transport community are the worst hit, wherein like they have, because they don't have any capital or assets to liquidize at the time of crisis, so that so as to make sure that they stay afloat in this crisis? Do you think the unorganized sector is the more affected one?
Of course, I 100% endorse that. I'll take example of a person who is owning one truck. How did he start running a truck? Because he might be doing some service somewhere, and he could save some money, and then he decided, okay, let me have my own business, maybe small. Then he bought a truck and started either driving himself, or maybe he hired a driver. So by running a truck, he thinks he can feed his family. The first requirement, maybe somebody's requirement is say about 20,000 rupees. So his first target is to meet that 20,000 rupees. Second target is to meet the EMI. EMI is a capital payment in the installments of 5 years. So every month he has to pay that EMI. That is his immediate second priority. And the third priority is the other expenses, like all government taxes. If he has a national permit, then he has to pay for the national permit. He has to pay the state's road tax also. He has to pay the insurance also, maintenance also. A lot of expenses are involved. So after doing everything, if he can meet all these expenses, he thinks he is doing a great business. And his actual profit comes only when he has completed all his EMIs, and whatever is the residual value of his asset, that he considers as a profit.
Right.
So now just imagine what happens Here, if say 3 months the truck is not moving, now what is happening? There's no earning, nothing is coming in his pocket. But his family expenses have to be met. His EMI, maybe the government has postponed for 3 months, but after that, what? The interest factor is not ignored by government. That is accumulating. He has to pay that also.
Right.
He has to pay the taxes also. He has to pay the insurance also. So these are the areas which the government should have looked into to help, the last person in the business chain, a single truck operator. He should have been helped. Government has not looked into these areas. So what will happen? So if the after 3 months, if he wants to run the vehicle, can he do it? I think the finance companies will come to him. He must first settle our payments, and after that you talk of running the truck. If he says no, he okay, वो truck लेके चला गया, he'll park it somewhere for the sale. And this man is without livelihood. His family is on the road, and this is going to happen to. Nobody has exact figure, but people say 80% trucks are owned by single truck owner. So if the 80% truck owners are going to face this kind of future, what is the future of supply chain in this country? I think the whole thing is going to fall flat. Somebody has to look into the depth of this. This is frightening.
Right. And lastly, government is for a long time is telling that the scrappage policy is on the cards. And in the recent times, many OEMs have said that an incentive-based scrappage policy will help the transport segment. So, considering the fact that you said 80% of the industry is all but unorganized sector, do you think this scrappage policy or any such mandation will make the situation more worse?
I think this year 2020-21, nothing is going to help. No scrappage policy will help, and I don't think who is going to buy BS6.
Right.
There won't be any vehicle sale for the whole 1 year. I don't see anybody buying vehicles in this coming year. So it's a real bad situation for the vehicle manufacturers also. They came with a lot of planning, fanfare that we'll have some great sales of BS6. Nothing is going to sell. Now, you ask any transporter on the Indian soil, is he ready to buy any vehicle in the next 1 year? I don't think anybody. And the second hand vehicles will be on a huge sale. The vehicles which are pulled up by the finance companies will be sold. So now that will be the cheapest buy. And this BS6 vehicles, they will be coming out with huge discounts to, if at all they have to move anything in the market. I don't foresee anybody at any price is going to buy anything. Next 1 year is going to be the worst nightmare for the vehicle manufacturers.
Right, very true, because the situation is so scary for the entire industry. And just your final impressions on any positive outlook or the way forward, or how, or just your idea of how the transporters should make sure that things are under control and they stay afloat for some time so that things get better in the coming days. What is your final touch on that?
No, it's a very difficult situation. You are operating at a capacity of 20-30%, and if you have to meet 100% expenses, uh, I think the whole thing is undergoing a very big disruption. That disruption is bound to happen, and maybe some major change will come because of the disruption only. Some methods will change. People are talking about the collaborative efforts. The transport companies should collaborate with each other, reduce their expenses, and try to make things work. But these are all efforts which have to be done, which have to be done. But the next 1 year is unpredictable. What will happen? And like anything bad, there has to be some time when things start looking up. So maybe after 1 year, things may start looking upwards. That could happen. So
Really, true, sir. I think we should hope for the best, while also making sure that we pay heed to the current crisis in a better way, so that all the immediate needs are also addressed.
true.
Right. Thank you, sir. Thanks for spending your time. And please keep us posted on any other initiatives taken by ITWA on the current crisis. And we are here to help you as well. Thank you, sir.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you, Dennis.